Water, precious water. I'm not very much surprised with this combination of basic necessities, running water and electricity. But for many people who can't afford such expensive equipment, lack of fresh water and electricity is really a catastrophe. Due to the well-known circumstances, I won't invite you to see the other rooms of the house, as no woman has passed the threshold of the house for a long period of time, neither my wife nor the maid. I'd better spare your delicate aesthetic taste, as I'm afraid the looks of the premises are below your channel's censorship standards. Let's limit ourselves to the kitchen, the only place I try my best to keep in working and presentable condition. Frankly, I am living in it. The day begins with feeding domestic animals. I've got two pets, a cat, you see, and a dog which you'll later see in the evening. Here is the place where I can relax. My enterprise has not worked for 2 days, and I've spent most of the time at my place. Here, I can while away the time as a gardener and orderly, rolled in one. This is my personal fitness center. The local spotlight led the city among the first, so it's not worse. It's a kind of morning exercises, some sort of workout, not bad at all. The two places I've been spending practically all days and nights are the kitchen and the basement room under the garage.
Сделаю рекламу.
I'd like to advertise this very helpful equipment I rely on, as for many hours and even days on end there are no electricity supplies. This machine allows to keep the refrigerator working, recharge the mobile, have the internet access, let alone the light in the house. It's been kind of my house's heart for some months. These two reservoirs, containing 1.5 tons of fresh water, are also very helpful. I should never have thought I'd depend on the water tanks when I installed them years ago. But as electricity cuts and blackouts are a regular feature of today's life, and consequently the local pumping stations aren't working, I rely on them. Very good. Well, time to go to work. The car hasn't been washed for several months, as the car service stations aren't working. It's commonplace to mention it at the time when pharmacies and even hospitals are closed. Let's stop here on the way to the office, 100 meters or so away from my place. You can see Stains of blood on the ground. A man was killed here, and the other one 20 meters away, and one more young man in another 100 meters was torn to pieces near the bus stop.
Метров 100 отсюда я покажу. Парня молодого разорвало. Куски его ног лежали там еще почти неделю.
The rockets appeared to have been fired from Grad multiple rocket launcher. The fragments of young man's body remained here for almost a week, covered with flies. Yes. Fragments of his body remained here for almost a week. It happened the same day when Grad fired from the Ukrainian forces-controlled territory, the settlement of Metalist, and my relative was killed. The same street, the same district. You see all these shell holes and mine craters in Lenyov Street, Gaevoy district. You hear this very peculiar sound, audible even when the car windows are closed. I can't get used to it. The sound is the result of the car tires touches against the tank traces on the asphalt. Today, practically all main streets and roads in the city bear those traces. The sound reminds me the one produced by the attack aircrafts, which very often fly over the city. It seems to me even more often after the Ukrainian president declared that region a no-fly zone after the downed Boeing. Certainly, I mean attack aircrafts and fighters. They became even more often. There were 7 alert sirens a day or so. This is a plant producing car valves. About 500 people worked here 3 days ago, and today 3 security men do. 2 weeks ago, some mines hit the territory. Thanks God, nobody was killed. If the things go well and we don't face hails of artillery and mortar fire, the plant can start working in a week or so.
Если все будет нормально, через неделю запустимся, попробуем, если интенсивность обстрела не будет зашкаливать, как это сейчас.
Come along.
Заходим.
It is not necessary to present this premise. The people remembered its whereabouts at once and use it on daily basis. It's the hideout, shelter. Another shell hole. Sort of a present which hit the plant a short time ago. Now it is filled with broken bricks, pieces of concrete, fragments of the carcass. The mines came from over there. From over there, behind Kamenobrodsky Hill. Behind this face and the Metalist settlement. And here are the consequences of this blast. The building is practically destroyed. And you can see the traces of the blast, right? The shell splinter went through the wall of the main building and flew over the heads of women working at the machine tool. Thanks God, everyone's alive. So we came to the office. It's Monday, 7:30 in the morning. The main building of the plant producing car valves. It is the first time in the plant's 11-year history when the dead silence reigns here. Earlier, 500-strong staff worked here in 2 shifts. This type of silence is very difficult to get used to.
Но глупо, наверное, говорить, что
It is foolish to mention that all the windows in this main building are glassless. There are no lanterns. Consequences of multiple explosions. Here is the heart of the plant. There are 8 presses, and if at least one of them is working, it drowns the sound of bombardments. It works very loudly, and one isn't distracted until the window glass or lantern is broken.
то, что дает основную продукцию нашу.
Again, the traces of tank tracks and the familiar sound resembling the attack aircraft over the head. Quite impressive. This is the office building of our plant. It is the way it looks. You see glassless broken windows. It happened 2 days ago. The same story with the local pharmacological factory. The high explosive shell hit the entrance gate office. Luckily, the security man managed to hide in the shelter. And this is the saddest place, the residential building in 24 Kirov Street, just opposite our plant. The old lady was on the balcony when the shell hit her flat, and half of her head was torn off. The neighboring flat, the one with the hanging oilcloth, had been left by the host who went to fetch some water. The old man, aged 87, went to fetch some water. The shell hit his flat, ruining it, and the woman on the balcony was killed with splinters. Aerial conductors were broken several days ago. I think nobody will fix or cut them off in the near future. Once the street was one of the busiest in this area, and now it's dead alive, only 2 cars, including mine. Another victim of shelling and bombardment, pharmacological factory, a very good one, not very big, but very good by the way. Its staff was about 400 people. You see the consequences of only one attack. It was not a stray mine or a stray shell, it was a massed fire. If the camera takes a bit higher, the shell came from that side of the entrance gate office, went through the door, and destroyed the office totally. Also, the parked car blew up. The office, as I said, is practically destroyed. Nothing has left inside. I'd like to underline that the territories doubtlessly fired from are settlements of Metalist and Chastya. The word Shastya sounds for happiness in Russian and Ukrainian is certainly an oxymoron. If the so-called anti-terrorist operation ever ends, I'm not sure that the name of the settlement Shastya happiness will sound pleasant for Lugansk residents, as the lion's share of mines and shells are fired from Shastya. Really shocking. Evidently, the same amount is fired in the Shastya direction from here. For instance, yesterday I heard 2 gun volleys with Grad. I don't know if they were aimed at Metalist or Shastya. I can't grasp one thing. Why the city's industrial area, with its 6 or 7 enterprises, producing the largest proportion of district's industrial output, is regularly bombarded. It is a regrettable and absolutely senseless situation. The workers don't understand it either, as the factories are the only place where they can earn their living. I hope central authorities in Kiev will see and hear, they must hear, and arrive at certain conclusions.
Надо понимать, что
Both settlements, I mean Metalist and Shastya, are controlled by the Ukrainian forces, and it's very difficult to admit that Lugansk is massed fired from over there.
то же самое, что просто бредить. Поэтому, поэтому нет слов.
I am absolutely wordless.
Вот 100 метров, 150 метров отсюда еще
100 meters from here is a bread baking plant. You can see another shell hole about 50 centimeters deep. The entrance gate office is also in debris. You see, 3 plants were seriously damaged within 15 minutes.
каких-то 15 минут.
I wonder who'll pay for this banquet and how to restore, rebuild them in the poverty-stricken country.
И самое неприятное, что
I have seen here
ни другой как
neither tanks nor other military equipment of Lugansk People Republic for a long time.
очень-очень давно. И тем более результат.
But I have seen the consequences of bombardments, the bodies of civilians, men and women, and not a single corpse clad in the camouflage.
Таких налетов я не видел. Результативность оставляет желать. Вот начали
Here another firing.
это где-то
It's about 1 kilometer away from here. Hope nobody will be killed. So it is noon. I usually have lunch break. Can go to the swimming pool. Come with me. Our first stop on the way to the pool. Here you can see another hole made by the howitzer on the same day when our plant, the pharmacological factory, and bakery plant were damaged. So it was a howitzer. Very serious job. Next stop, we can see local school number 2. I attended it for 10 years. It is the so-called old city, and you see the consequences of the shelling of the old city. We'll see many things and sites like this on the way to the pool. Grad rocket came from Ukraine's control zone. It is also the old city. It is one of the first private cafes in the city. It was in a very beautiful ancient building. Now you see its ruins. Not much left. Again, the consequences of grad shells. About 100 meters away from the cafe is the Voroshilov Museum. Better to say its remnants, the old city. The settlements of Metalist and Chestia are in about 7 kilometers from here, and the present come from there, killing civilians and ruining our once beautiful city. Another very good cafe, once it was. By the way, nowadays not a single restaurant or cafe works in the city. Here is the office of one of the commercial banks, OTP Bank. You see electricity is working inside, as if the clerks had just left it for a minute. You can see open strong boxes, safes. There is nobody, neither security, nor even marauders. Here is the bank stamp, OTP Bank. Maybe someone in Kiev will need it. I can change it, say, for arms.
А это что хоть частично
Ye- yes, traces of tanks used by insurgents.
это танк ополченцев, это дом номер
Building 4 in Shevchenko Street.
с таким красивым названием Шевченко, имени Шевченко.
Evidently, the tank was here and fired at Ukrainian positions. The National Guards retaliated and we saw dead bodies
Мы видим
and bombed out
здание
buildings.
старого города и трупов людей.
I have not seen any damaged tank or rebel's corpse.
Я не видел.
From the street,
Последних наших остановок
and now you see notary office. 20 meters from here, the corner of the building was hit. The overhead cover between the first and second floors was damaged.
и первого этажа.
We'll see it. The next stop will be the swimming pool Spartak. But now I'd like to stress that the sites I've shown you are not the most shattering or horrible. There are districts in the city which are completely destroyed. For example, areas on the way to the airport. The, the most disgusting thing is that all my attempts to tell the people what really happens in Lugansk about the full-scale war without any rules on both sides involved causes no intention or desire to examine the situation and find a non-violent conflict resolution, but it causes curses and threats directed against me and my family. I think we'll get over Grad rockets. I'm dubious we can live down with what happened to the country. The pool. This is the key to open the door. I have a secret agreement with the pool's manager. I can use the pool temporarily, performing duties of watchman and plumber. I have always cherished a dream to have such a pool at my disposal. The dream has come true, but I never have thought it would be so costly. So, done away with the swimming pool. Leaving the pool, I think the personnel of the pool left it when the office of the local gas enterprise was bombed out and there was a conflagration. Evidently, the security office of Ukraine building, SBU, had been aimed at, as one of the headquarters of Lugansk People Republic was located there. The fire was really huge. I've just been telephoned from my enterprise and informed that the electricity supply is cut off. No need to return to the office. The afternoon is free. Can go home. On the way, I'll show you the building of Lugansk residents once took pride in, the circus. It is one in the very center of the city. You see it.
А это место
This is a place where my close relative and a very good person named Sergei Babur perished. Shell splinters wounded him. He managed to make some steps. You still can see stains of his blood everywhere. His wife, my sister Ina, his wife was kneeling by him. 2 hours later, I carried his body to the morgue in my car. Some meters away there was a young man's body by the pram. The numerous splinters killed the father, but did not hit the child in the pram. So, father killed his baby. It was a monstrous sight, blood-stained pram. Mother and the baby were taken away somewhere. When I came here to take away my brother-in-law's body, the young man was still here. I don't know when and where the corpse was taken away. The local militiamen do not come to such incident scenes any longer. Look at these flowers. I want Kiev authorities and the whole country to hear that both sides involved in the conflict use Grad multiple rocket launchers. Both sides, Ukrainian army and insurgents, fired at and from the residential areas. Civilian losses of life have occurred on a regular basis. If these are acceptable and justifiable methods of conducting war, then really I am at a loss. I don't know if we are one country. Now, according to my schedule, first, visit of my mother-in-law to fetch food for my dog and homemade yogurt for myself. And then we can return home to my place, which also suffered firing. For instance, stucco moldings fell down several times. My wife picked up palm-sized splinters in the yard. So we'll go home. So the day is over. And then just to fill up the time till the evening, I'll do some lawn mowing and watering the plants or cut the wood.
Так, мы сейчас на Динамо забираем. Здравствуйте. Ну выйдите на секунду. В историю попадете. Ряженку, давайте ряженку.
А что, тут
Собачья.
два?
Ну, собачья, собачья.
Я ж тебя отдала вчера.
Хорошо, собачья. Пусть открыто.
This is for my dog, and that is for his master. It's life as it is.
Насколько хватит?
Хватит.
Хватит? Ну ладно, дня через 3, пока.
This is my newly acquired two-wheeled friend. I haven't ridden the bike since school days, but the 3-day ban on driving private cars changed everything.
Луганской Народной Республики, как бы сказать, внесло коррективы. Поэтому
The bike has become a great helper. Frankly, the first day I made an attempt to violate the ban and went to the office by car. In 30 minutes, I was stopped by a group of burly, heavily armed chaps who, in simple terms, persuaded me not to break the ban.
День я уже использовал.
So the next day, I used the bike.
Да, ну и хорошо. Хорошо. Несколько недель назад мне довелось в очередной раз.
I try my best to walk my dog at least twice a day if there isn't a mast fire. The pet gets afraid of shooting out or shelling. 2 weeks ago or so, I was walking my dog around this derelict field and witnessed the grad shelling of the city from the area controlled by the Ukrainian forces. The multiple rocket launcher was somewhere between Metalist and Teplichny. Metalist was controlled by the anti-terrorist forces. Rockets flew over my head, and in 20-25 seconds I heard explosions in residential districts Yuzhny. And in 10 minutes later, my sister phoned me and said that her husband had been killed. I drove there to carry his body to the morgue in my car's boot. It was the saddest walking out of my dog. Come on.